Hello, welcome. Let me just wait and see if this has worked before I start. Let's wait for that sweet notification. But hey, looks like it's live. Okay. Yes, it's fully working. Okay. Give me just a quick second. Okay, welcome to round 6 out of 8 for Tier 4 in our 9th season of GT7. Let's have a look through the grid. So we've got Skittles at the back in his Alfa Romeo once again. And then we've got Zab, who qualified 10th, which might be his worst qualifying since he's joined. So not used to this track, I'm assuming. We've got Hapax in P9 in his Gen X, Whack in the other McLaren in P8, so neither of the McLarens having the best qualifying there. Andres Guardrail Lover in P7 in his Renault, so the only Renault on the grid, I think. And then CC K or Kutch in the Huracan is in P6. Charizard in the Audi, which seems to be pretty fast around here, is in P5. Then the other Alpha of Pyro in P4. And then we've got the Peugeot of Capel in P3 and his teammate, Turbo Boy, in P2, who's closing down a lot on Bomber in the lead of the championship. So these are the top 3 in the championship, all in the right order for the start of this race. The other 2 of the top 5, Oscar and Pasty, in the Porsches, both missed this round. I think everyone's on the softs. Yep, they are. So some of these cars are going to really struggle at the end of the race, but yeah, it depends on how good they are at managing the tires. But yeah, like the Gen and the Peugeot will be pretty dead by the end of the race. The Alpha should be fairly good, and the McLaren obviously is really good on tire management. So if Pyro can kind of hang on to these guys, maybe he's got a chance of getting a podium or perhaps a win. But let's get the race started and see how they go. So lights out on the sprint race and Dragon Trail. So the first lap of 10 in this 15-minute race. It looks like Bomber did have a really good start, and Capel's going to try and move around the outside. He's gone to block off Turbo Boy there on the inside, and he manages to get away with it pretty well there. And Turbo Boy is going to have to defend from his teammate into turn 2. Really tricky on the first lap. Excuse me. This little chicane, because the tires aren't the warmest. It's quite easy to spin, but it looks like everyone's got away with it. Whack managed to get up to P6, but it's fallen back a little bit there. And we've got Skittles challenging and managing to get past Zab there as well, which is a pretty good overtake from him. But let's see what's happening at the front. Looks like Bomber's already got quite a lead. And Pyro, let's rewind a little bit and see what's happened with Pyro. So he managed to get past Capel. So did Capel. Yeah, Pyro just managed to take a much better line. Capel loses a bit of traction. Pyro sweeps around him, and he's going to have a look at Turbo Boy now. Turbo Boy, if he's smart, will defend the inside here. It looks like he's leaving the door open. No, he goes defensive at the last few moments, and Pyro is going to have to go the long way around. And he does have a little bit of an advantage here going into this. Yeah, it looks like Turbo Boy just backed out a little bit there, and Pyro had a great start all the way up to second already. Excuse me. So great start for Pyro. It looks like Andres is comfortably at P5. Whack is in 6th, but he's got himself a little penalty already. Looks like Capel is taking a much tighter line through this incredibly long multiple right-hander, and has a run on his teammate. His teammate looks like, it looks like they're doing a bit of bump drafting there, working together a little bit. All the cars look pretty close together. Turbo Boy taking the tight line again, which means his exit will be a little bit compromised. Capel might get a run on him into turn 1 as we start the second lap now. So just have a little bit further back. Andres, and well, he's defending a little bit from Kutch, who's having a bit of a better week so far. His first race at Tier 4 didn't get the best results, but he's up in P6 now. Looks like Charizard is having a good battle with Whack there. Whack obviously had that half-second penalty, which has dropped him back a little bit. Charizard's going to try and move around the outside, but you can't really do that at this hairpin. He does get a little bit of a cutback as we see Andres go really wide there and lose position as well. So Kutch all the way up to P5 now. So all four of them have really tightened up now with all the battling that's been going on. Looks like Andres is trying to go a little bit wider on there, but that's opened the door a little bit for Whack Jumps behind him as well. So not the best line there for Andres. And he leaves the door open a little bit for Whack, and if Whack's clever, he'll do a little bit of a later braking here, and Guardrail will try and get the cutback, but it's really hard to do in that corner because the door can just be closed in the second left-hander there. So good little lap for Whack Jumps. He's up to 6 now, and not the best one for Guardrail, who's also under pressure from Charizard now. Charizard makes a good little move around the outside. Also, we see Pyro has lost a position, so let's see what happened there. So he's getting hassled and he's under a lot of pressure going into the final couple of corners. Looks like Turbo Boy's got the move done, but goes really wide, which allows Pyro to just sweep down the inside and take the position back, and it's going to be a drag race into turn 1. Pyro's going to have to dip back into Turbo Boy's slipstream a little bit there. And Pyro's going to maybe try and move around the outside. It's not the best placement of his car there, and that allows Turbo Boy to just kind of block him a little bit, quite straightforward. And now Turbo Boy can think about closing the gap on Bomber ahead of him. Is Capel going to have a run on Pyro? Not quite. Is Pyro going to have a run? No, he's not close enough either going into this hairpin. Lovely view of the Croatian, the Adriatic Sea there, as you go down the hill towards the hairpin. So it can rain here. It can rain here and the final 2 rounds that we've got coming after this. But it looks pretty sunny at the moment. Doesn't look like it's going to be any rain coming into play. Just a reminder, it did rain in the sprint race in Suzuka, the very first race of the season in Tier 4, but well, also Bomber managed to take advantage of that and pit at the right time to ease the win in that sprint race. So Capel's going to have a look down the inside of Pyro here, and he's going to get it done. Pyro's going to try the kind of switch back, which, like I said, you can't really do at this double left-hander. If you're on the inside, you're pretty much guaranteed to have won the corner. Let's see what's going on a little bit further back. Kutch is comfortably in P5, Whack in 6th, Black Charizard in 7th, Zab's managed to work his way up to 8th, Skittles 9th, Hapax 10th, and Guardrail Lover. Let's rewind and see what's happened to him. So he did have a bit of a nightmare in the last lap. He was doing pretty well and then dropped to 8th, so I'm guessing we will see some sort of trip off the road here at some point. So he takes the apex pretty well. Let's ride on board. Nice little interior of this Renault. Everything's nice and lit up, but no rear view mirror or like screen, or oh, he just goes a little bit wide there. Just that. No, that's not the mistake that cost him though. So we go into the really long right-hander, it takes too much speed into the first corner, and that is why he ended up last. I have Hapax here, who was cut off at the back, but he's going to get past Andres here, who's still getting up to speed. He's going to have all sorts of damage, I'm guessing, as well. Yep, front right tyre damage, so that's going to be a nice easy overtake for Hapax to get the last point as it stands. So let's ride on board with Bomber, just see how he's taking some of these corners. He's got really good tyre life on his 4th lap at the moment, so tyre wear hasn't been an issue for him all season. I don't expect it to be in this race either. It goes really wide there though. That is going to lose him a lot of time. It'll be really interesting to see how his sector time was impacted by that. So nearly a second slower than his fastest. Yeah, it seemed like that. and that's allowed Turbo Boy to really close in on him, and it's going to create a pretty exciting second half of the race, because the top 4, you can see them all within maybe 3 or 4 seconds of each other here. So Bomber's had it all easy so far, because these guys have all been battling. Pyro had a great start, and now he's dropped back behind the Peugeots again. But he still could get a podium here if he manages to keep with this pack and avoid that, basically, which not only was slower, but that's going to have eaten his tyres a little bit as well. And you can see Kutch in his Lamborghini doing pretty well. He's still not too far from the main pack, so if there's any sort of incident, he'll sweep past any drivers in front of him, lapping in the 32s as well, so his fastest lap's only half a second slower than what Bomber's managed. Looks like Pale had a little sniff at Turbo Boy, but Turbo Boy was just about far ahead enough. It's quite a short start-finish straight here. What's happened with Whack Jumps? Let's rewind. So he goes really wide at the final exit of the corner, and look how close Charizard is in his Audi. Quite straightforward there for Black Charizard. Good little overtake. Whack perhaps could have kept that position if he defended the inside. So Pyro's dropping off now from the top 3, which, to be honest, isn't a surprise compared to what we've seen so far this season. The Pyro Alpha combination doesn't seem to be working as well as these cars ahead of him. Skill's having a good, let's rejoin. So Whack is all over the back of Charizard still, so he's not letting Charizard get away yet. And this kind of pressure is really good in ALR, because the driver ahead will be more concerned about what is going on behind them than hitting the apexes as well as it kind of makes them make a little bit more of a mistake when you're riding this close behind them, and it can result in them basically gifting you the position if you manage to outbox them with the pressure. Skill's in 8th all on his own there, we can see, so Andres manages to get himself up into 9th there, so maybe he'll be trying to chase down Skills before the end of the race. Looks like Charizard's fended Whack off for now, and are they going to be catching Kutch? So 32.6 for Charizard, 32.7, not really catching him, so he just needs to be keeping going the pace that he's going, and he'll get his first top 5 finish in ALR. Ooh, he needs to take that hairpin a lot better than that though. So let's see how much time he lost there. 28.2, 7/10 off his best. So let's see, let's stick with this battle between Charizard and Whack, because it is the closest one we've got on the grid. Everyone else has given them car ahead a little bit more space. This is really good for Whack. Let's have a look. Oh no, his tyres are a little bit more worn than Charizard, so he's not been looking after those tyres as well as the McLaren could do. And Kutch is going to join this battle pretty soon now as well. He's had a pretty sloppy lap there. His tyres are a little bit more worn than Charizard as well, so Charizard taking it easy for the first portion of the race, and is probably in these next 4 laps, as we are about to enter lap 7, going to start coming back to him now. Ooh, Kutch goes a little bit on the grass as well, and he's not defending the inside for turn 1, so this will end up being an easy overtake for Charizard as long as he can hit the apex. Yeah, now Kutch could try move. No, he doesn't have the traction to do it. So a really good move for Charizard there to move up into P5, and now his job will be to fend these guys off. He's taken the chicane a little bit sloppy there compared to Kutch. So if Kutch had clean air ahead of him, he would have got an even better slingshot out of that chicane as well. 28 flat, so you want to be in the low 27s to set a good sector 1 time. And it looks like Kutch is he going to hit the apex? He goes a little bit wide. Is he still going to get the move done anyway? He does. He has really good traction on the exit, despite going a little bit wide there. And he reclaims 5th place back off Charizard. But again, look at the pressure. 2 cars within a second behind him. Charizard goes a little bit wide, opens the door a little bit for Whack, but not quite enough. That's maybe the trickiest corner on the track, that uphill left-hander. You need to kind of trail brake into the corner. If you brake too much, you're just going to understeer off the road. It's really, really tricky to get done, even though there's only like a very small braking zone for that. So are any of them going to get a little run here? Doesn't look like it. Let's see what's going on a little bit further ahead. Where is Pyro's? Pyro's still lapping in the mid-32s, so pretty decent lap time. His tyres are almost completely dead now. Capel's tyres are much better. He's still harrying his teammate here, who might have to concede the position before too long, because he's obviously lost a lot of time to Bomber in first place. But he's still fending off his teammate. They are battling for both the championship and the race position. They've pretty much sewn up the constructors though at this point, because the 2 Porsche drivers, the closest rivals, are both missing this round. So as long as they don't completely implode, they'll score enough points to probably clinch the title in the Nürburgring. Let's rejoin C. Kutch here. Charizard's got a great run out of the exit of that multiple left-hander. Kutch defending the inside. Charizard is going to have a better run because he had a wider line, and that is exactly how he managed to get that position. And because Kutch was compromised by protecting the inside but lost a little bit of traction in between the 2 left-handers, he's going to lose P6 now to Whack as well. So one tiny mistake there has really cost Kutch. He's dropped 2 positions, and Charizard is once again back up into P5. Charizard driving really defensively here, and that could potentially open the door for Kutch to get a position back here, because these guys are driving side by side and Kutch has the whole width of the track to kind of decide where to place his car to try and take advantage of these 2 battling through a portion of the track where it is not easy to overtake. And there we go, Kutch manages to just sweep around the outside of Whack there, and he's also, let's ride on board with Whack and try and have a good look at what's going on here. So now Kutch's lines were a little bit compromised there. Let's see, going into the inside here, Kutch has the position. Charizard goes a little bit wide, opens the door slightly for Kutch, but Kutch couldn't get traction to get that position as well, and kind of has to slot in behind him, which compromises the rest of the right-handers that he has to take, and means that he's going to come under a little bit of pressure here again from Whack. Is Whack going to try a really late move? He does, but Kutch also brakes really late. Brakes way too late. Kind of got spooked a little bit by Whack there into giving up the position. Good little bit of wily tactical driving there from Whack. He braked just late enough, and Kutch braked a little bit too late there. So that is P6 for Whack now. Let's rejoin the battle between the Peugeots, because I have a feeling there's going to be a change on this last lap somewhere along the line, because... oh, there was a change. Hold on, let's see what happened. Turbo Boy coming under pressure into the last corner. Capale trying a move around the outside as well. So you can get a move done around the outside if the driver on the inside doesn't have the best traction. And Capale really nailed that perfectly to take P2 off Turbo Boy there. Turbo Boy's kind of the form driver at the moment as well. He's won, I think it was 3 out of the last 4 races. And so to drop back to 3rd on, well, with only 1 lap left now is not ideal for him. Will he be able to get a move done down into the hairpin? They both take the chicane identically there and manage to keep traction. Nope, doesn't look like Turbo Boy can get close enough. Pyro just a really solid P4 here, and Charizard and Whack. Ooh, let's rewind a little bit. So, let's join Whack. Going through this really tough chicane, Charizard gets it slightly wrong. We've seen him do that a few times, and that really opens the door because Whack gets a great exit from the chicane. Charizard squeezing him all the way to the left. He wanted to have the inside line for the next corner, but he lost it. And is Whack going to be able to slow it down and hit the apex? Is Charizard going to try a bit of a switchback? He can't get it done. But he's got the inside for this. And, ooh, really difficult to go side by side through there, but they manage it, and Whack keeps the position. They both go really wide here. Is that going to... Oh, Kush is a little bit too far back to take advantage. Right, the final right-hander. And it looks like Whack has it. So let's see what happens. So Bomber takes the victory. Capale is going to cross the line at P2 after his last lap overtake off his teammate. Turbo Boy at P3. Pyro is going to get P4. Whack Jams managed to keep Charizard behind, and Kutch is really close behind as well. So Whack really well done to get P5 there at the end. Charizard P6, Kutch P7. Andres managed to recover after an early mistake to take P8 by the looks of things. Skittles, I think that's his first sprint race points of the season, so really good result for him. Zab in P10, and then Hapax will get pole position for the next race. So, and fastest lap went to Capale as well, right at the end there. Bomber had it for the whole race with almost an identical time as well. So let's find the second one. Much easier to find this today because Croatia's an easy one to find. So here we go. Let's download this. So great first result for Bomber. Obviously extends his lead there in the championship. He got the pole position point as well. He led the entirety of the race. Just got pipped on the last couple of laps for the fastest lap. So he didn't get the maximum 17 points, but he got 16 points for that. So let's just get everything set up before we start. Select car names. Let's join the front of the grid. Hapax did have a pretty decent start in Monza. He was leading the race for a little bit, so could potentially do the same again. He's in the Gen and he's on the mediums today. Zab is also on the mediums, and Skittles is on the softs, so he'll be trying to get past these guys pretty quickly. So great start from the Gen. A little bit wide through turn 1, but nothing too bad. What's going on a little bit further back? Nice livery on that Renault. Kuchin P5, Charizard and Whack. So everyone is pretty much as they were, and once again Charizard and Whack are having another battle, going down to the hairpin, with Pyro wanting to get involved as well. They're going to go 3 wide into the hairpin. Looks like Pyro's making it 3 wide. He backs out of it at the last minute. Someone's going to go wide surely. Whack. Ooh, everyone. something really bad happened there to Skittles. And Kutch by the looks of it. So let's join Skittles on board. So he's got to run on Zab on his soft tires. And oh well, ran out of room there. Didn't place his car the best. Both of them go wide. And Kutch hits him into the wall a little bit as well. Kutch is in the wall. Whack is all the way down to 9. So 3 easy places for Bomber. Charizard must have got caught in that as well. He's down to 7. The 2 Peugeots get past him. And the top 4, well, Guardrail is now in P2. So let's see how he benefited from that. So Zab goes wide all on his own as well. But doesn't lose, well, he doesn't go off the track like everyone else did, so he only lost 1 position. And Pyro's just slotted right up into P4 because he actually backed out a little bit, didn't make it 3 wide into that corner. So probably a little bit of people are driving on cold medium tyres as opposed to hot softs. You have to obviously alter when you brake for corners to avoid doing exactly that, especially these heavy braking zones where you need to really use the brakes and the tyres a lot more. So Capel is once again all over the back of Turbo Boy. A little bit of lag there. Ooh, it looked like Whack went a little bit wide. He did. So, ooh, look at this overtake from Bomber on Capel here. Great move from Bomber, although Capel's holding it around the outside. But he's going to have the outside for the next corner as well. And he still managed to keep the position. Yeah, you can see how laggy he is. And he's got a half-second penalty as well. So Turbo Boy gonna try and move on Zab and Pyro. Whoa. Right, let's watch that from a few different angles. So they both just leave the door massively open here. Turbo Boy just says thank you very much. A little bit of contact with both of them. And that is probably the most important overtake of the night that I've seen, because his championship rivals are way down the field and he's already in the podium positions. Now Pyro and Zab having a little battle as well. Pyro wanting to fence off this train of cars that are forming behind him. He's doing alright so far. But Zab looks like he's going to try and stick a nose down the inside. Not this time. Pyro, Zab and Charizard have all raced each other many times among, well, not just in GT, but in the F1 games as well. Zab, it looks like he's lost the position there to Charizard. He actually clatters Charizard mid-corner because it looks like Charizard missed the apex slightly. Bomber's getting a move done on Capel and Zab, so Zab's just not having a great time of it at the moment. Lots of little bits of contact here and there, but he gets better traction out of the chicane by the looks of things. He'll want to move over and defend the inside for the next corner. No, he leaves the door open for Bomber. And that is going to be... oh, actually, he manages to hold on to it around the outside really well, which is a really difficult thing to do in that hairpin. Well, yeah, Bomber eventually gets through. And Bomber will be able to start chasing down Charizard. And it looks like Zab has a bit of a queue behind him, so maybe he's just not got as much pace this weekend, but everyone's queuing up to overtake him. We've also seen a change for the lead. I don't know what happened to Hapax. Let's see. So Andres all over the back of him going into this tricky right left-hander. It's not really a chicane. It's way too big to be a chicane. So now we're going into the multiple right-hander here. He's already defending the inside. He's not got a lot of speed going through these corners. And he pushes Andres off a little bit, but then he hits the inside of the curb, loses a little bit of traction, and loses 2 positions. Potentially 3. Pyro's going to be catching up to him as well. Not this time. You just get a little punt from the back, it looks like, from Pyro. Oh. There we go. So not the best, not the tidiest third lap from Hapaxo, but he did manage to lead for a couple of laps. Let's rewind this as well. So Turbo Boy Andres battling onto the start-finish straight. Turbo Boy manages to get past him on the final corner of the race to take the lead and get the fastest lap. It's not a very quick lap though. Guardrail's going to try and move on the inside. Brakes much later than Turbo Boy. Has the inside line for turn 1 and for turn 2. Gets the move done comfortably, and Andres is now the leader. So a good couple of lead changes here on lap 4 already. So really good opening stint for Andres. Turbo Boy coming on the inside now into the hairpin. He's going to get he overshoots a little bit, which allowed for the switchback, but it doesn't look like Andres is going to be able to get alongside into the next section of the track. But yeah, definitely lapping very similar pace, these two. Going on a little bit further back. Charizard's in 4th now, and Bomber's up to 5th, our race 1 winner. Capale, who got P2, is in 6th, maybe 3 or 4 seconds further back, ahead of this big gaggle of cars. The only one not with us is Skittles, who must have had a few mistakes because he's really far behind. Let's see how Turbo Boy's doing compared to Andres and Pyro. We did a 33.3 compared to a 34.2, compared to a 33.2. So Pyro is the quickest out of these 3 at the moment. Charizard losing a little bit of pace to them. And he'll probably come under pressure. Ooh, he got turn 1 pretty badly wrong there. Open the door for Bomber. Let's see what Bomber can do. He's taking the chicane better, you can tell he's lined. Oh, he loses a lot of traction, hits the wall. Oof, commentator's curse. Anyone? Right, so he's got it all to do again from scratch. He's down in 10th. Losing it all on his own as well. So not a good moment for the championship contender, having your closest rival in P1 and you're down in 10th. So he's got a big recovery drive ahead of him. Turbo Boy now starting to drive away from Guardrail Lover, who is going to probably start holding up Pyro, so that's the next battle that we want to watch. That's great news for Capale, who doesn't have the incredibly quick championship leader in front of him anymore. One thing I noticed from the Tier 3 race though is it doesn't matter too much if you make a mistake because the car's ahead. It's quite difficult obviously to get an overtake done here compared to some other tracks because there isn't really long straights and it's really technical. It's quite easy to defend as well with the way that the layout is, if you know what you're doing. But so it could create a bottleneck at the front if, for example, Andres starts holding people up, and it could help some drivers close the gap after early mistakes. So it looks like Pyro's got a run on Andres now. But he's not trying to have... Oh, what happened to Andres? He went wide. Let's ride on board with him. What happened? Just goes really wide there, goes onto the marbles, and Pyro is just going to appear. Actually, he doesn't. He backed out of it. So Pyro can't have taken the corner too well either. But yeah, that's a complete get out of jail free card for Andres there, because that position should be lost. He goes wide again, so he's under a bit of pressure now. Maybe his tyres lost a little bit of grip going onto those marbles as well. Goes wide again. His Pyro could easily just stick a nose in here and get the move done, but he decides not to in case it goes wrong. Surely only a matter of time before Pyro gets him. Luckily for Pyro, there's quite a gap behind him. Potentially knowing that he might not have the pace to catch Turbo Boy anyway, P2 could be the maximum result for him, but he'll want to overtake this Renault pretty quickly to get some clear air behind him and protect, you know, a challenge from Capello, or maybe even from Bomber a little bit later on in the race if they can recover. You can see Bomber's already up to P8. Be interested to see how that happened. So let's see. Well, we heard someone crash there, so there was one position. Now let's see how he got past Hapax. Into the final corner. Hapax just goes wide and Bomber gets P8. So let's rejoin. So I'm massacring this. Right. Guardrail lover. From the apex, this is where we were, where he got the apex a little bit wrong. He's going to get, oh, he goes off the track here, and surely that Pyro's going to finally get the move done now. He does, and he's got, oh, but he gets pushed a little bit wide. I think Andres backed out there. He knew he messed up a little bit, and now Pyro's got P2. Be interested to see how much time they lost having those battles though, because it was a very sloppy lap. "26 laps this feature races, so we are a quarter of the way through. Just finishing lap 7 now. Charizard has Capella all over the back of him, so let's join that. Capel, oh yeah, it's Capel's lag. That's why it looks like he's ghosting through Charizard a little bit there. And he gets the position. So Capel definitely on for scoring a double podium, because I don't doubt he'll be able to catch Guardrail before too long. Oh, it goes... Right, I'm going to stop watching it because it looks like he's making mistakes, but it's just his lag. And this must be frustrating for Charizard as well, who will be saying this exact same thing, feeling like he can't get a move done. He's probably not got the pace of Capel in these cars this season. Ooh, Turbo Boy in the pits. That's a very early pit stop. So that means that Turbo Boy is going to commit to the 2-stopper. And Pyro's going to take the lead of the race, perhaps for the first time. He's still under pressure from Guardrail. I thought he'd start driving away from him. Goes a little bit wide into turn 1 as well, which allowed Guardrail to close right up to his rear. The lapping in the 34s, not the greatest lap times. When you think Turbo Boy was in the 32s. So let's see where Turbo Boy comes out. So he's still only out in P6, so he hasn't put on any fuel. You see, he's still got the exact same fuel tank, so he's going to do half a tank on fresh softs, and then he's going to refuel for his last stint. So he will be by far the quickest driver on the track right now, and he'll want to overtake these two who he's come out of pretty behind pretty quickly. So we'll stick with Turbo Boy now because I think he will be the only one who's going to try this alternate strategy. It's definitely worked out well for him because he was the one who managed to get to the front of the grid quickest and to start building a gap. Still a very risky strategy though because it is not the quickest. But if he's not very confident on worn tyres, then potentially it's the quickest for him. Nice to see a bit of strategy as well. A bit of a different kind of gambling, you might as well. And really important that he's come out ahead of Bomber, his championship rival, so he's going to be absolutely flying and just drive away from him now, which is quite demoralising for Bomber to see. Move down the inside on Whack, very straightforwardly done. Worn mediums versus fresh softs. That is what tends to happen. Let's see what's happening with Capel and the battle for P1. So guardrail is, got a little bit pushed onto the grass there, so it backs out of a move on Pyro. And is Capel going to try and move right down the inside? They all managed to get away with it. Looks like Turbo Boy and Charizard were having a little battle as well. Turbo Boy not wanting to waste a single second behind these cars. He's going to try and move down the outside. Brakes so much later, but obviously doesn't have the apex. Goes for the switchback. Beautiful move from Turbo Boy to overtake Charizard incredibly easily there. And now, already, you can see P1 from his screen. So actually, that pit stop, let's see, so he set 46 on that lap that he had to pit. So he's lost 14, maybe 15 seconds by pitting. Must have had an absolutely massive lead ahead of Pyro and Guardrail. As these three are all battling as well. That's and he shoves Pyro off. Is this just going to open the door for Capel to take P1? Oh, Pyro! It was going so well. He lost the traction on the exit and And now he's got front and rear bumper damage. He's all the way down in P8. Really unlucky there for Pyro. He was doing so well, and that's a free position for Turbo Boy and also for Capel. I'm surprised it didn't get reported actually that he got nudged a little bit wide there from Andres, which triggered the incident a little bit, but I guess it's just hard racing. He kind of pushed Andres off a little bit earlier in the lap onto the grass, so a bit of tit for tat maybe. Now we've got both Peugeots on the podium positions again. Charizard's going to start slowing Bomber down now as well. So let's stick with them for a little while. See the difference in the lines being taken. Bomber's using the full width of the track and Charizard's going a little bit tighter. Don't know if that's to defend and make sure that Aero doesn't get stuck up, but we can see Turbo Boy making a late move there on the inside. He's going to have the traction as well, so this should be quite an easy overtake for P2 on Andres. Andres isn't going to be able to have another look down. Tyres are pretty shot at this point of the race. So for everyone one stopping, I would say pit window opens lap 14 for the people who are really good at managing the tyres to get 12 laps out of those softs. Maybe lap 13 if they really want the undercut. The undercut is incredibly strong here, especially if you're being held up. Looks like Turbo Boy managed to get past Capel as well. Let's see if this was a move for the lead. Or, well, it kind of looked like he lost a bit of traction, but he might have just pulled over. Yeah, I think that's a bit of teamwork there. now Turbo Boy's just going to drive away from him, and yeah, this two-stop strategy is working out incredibly well so far for Turbo Boy. Lapping maybe 2 seconds lap quicker than everyone else. And Bomber is past Charizard. Into the hairpin as well. I'm not getting some good angles here, let's rewind that again. So he comes out of the chicane, obviously has the run. Charizard's been good at defending this so far, but he does decide not to here and decides to go on the outside. Beautiful corner there, and Charizard tries to switch back. Well, you couldn't do it. That's the problem. The switchback looks like it's going to work when you try it coming out of that hairpin, but quite often you just have more traction on the outside than the inside of that corner. So Andres still doing pretty decently here, even though he's losing out and he's surrounded by three of the big five drivers of this league. The other two aren't racing. He's given a good account of himself, avoiding the mistakes that he made in the sprint race, definitely. And now we've got Charizard and Whack. Always seem to be pretty identical on pace these last couple of rounds. Always seem to be together having battles, as Zab is the first person to come into the pits in his McLaren. So remember, he was in P7, because I have a feeling when everyone else pits, he'll end up made maybe 3 or 4 positions out of pitting early, as long as he can nail his outlap. I mean, Charizard's in the 35s here. Obviously, someone like Zab could do a low 32 quite comfortably on the softs. This Bomber's going to start catching Andres soon. Not yet, not yet. Pyro down in P7 all on his own after his mistake. It was quite a big mistake as well in terms of time lost. Kutch in P8 clearly made a few mistakes as well. Hapax in P9. Zab, after coming out of the pits, will be trying to get past Hapax really quickly because he's going to catch up to him very fast. Doesn't want to get held up at all. Let's rejoin the front. So Turbo Boy obviously isn't going to be pitting anytime soon. He's got the rest of his tank to use up. What about Capel? These guys would really be minded to dive into the pit. So good decision here by Charizard coming to the pits. He has a chance to potentially get into P2 after these pits if he nails the undercut. Pyro continues on. Kutch is going to come in. Okay. 13 laps on the softs in the Huracan is very ambitious. Right, let's join Zab. So I'm assuming, yeah, he's got the undercut done on Charizard. Pretty well there. And that's how powerful it is. Charizard was maybe the same distance ahead of Zab that he's ahead of him now. That's exactly what I meant by the undercut on this track. When you've got completely dead tyres, mediums as well, on a track that is very technical, it does cost you a lot of time. I'll be catching Hapax pretty soon here, but let's see what's Bomber doing. Oh, Bomber's having a look at getting P3 off Andres. Andres defending really well there. He's not going to defend the inside for the next corner. He might not need to. So I think this is probably the ideal lap for people to be coming in. Capel carries on again. Guardrail does. Bomber comes into the pit, so I'll be really interested to see if Zab managed to jump Bomber. Zab's carrying, Wax carrying on, sorry. Pyro is as well. Hapax is slightly ahead of Zab, who's actually getting harangued by Charizard at the moment. I think there's someone at my door. Let's fine. So let's see. Does Zab stay ahead of Bomber? Actually, no. Bomber had a really good in-lap by the looks of things. And he keeps the position ahead of Zab. And then we've got Charizard. Hapax went into the pits as well, so Zab's not going to get held up by him on this lap. Excuse me. Oh, really clattering the banana curb there. But Charizard doesn't get a run on him. So Bomber, this is potentially working out really well for him because he could get the jump on Capel on this lap. Obviously he's really good at managing his tyres, so I don't think his tyres will be dead by the end of this race after 12 laps. Let's stick with Zab and Charizard because these two are racing each other, but they really want to get... Well, he's making lots of small mistakes here, Zab. 34 as well. His last lap at 34.3, which is not soft tyre pace. So Capel and Guardrail are in the pits. I expect Bomber to jump them, and they'll probably slot out in between Bomber and Zab. Capel will anyway. Turbo Boy obviously continuing because he's already made a stop. He's going to have to make another one. So you got Bomber here. Yep, takes P3. Capel actually comes out in a comfortable P2 there. So Bomber doesn't manage to jump him. Guardrail manages P4 and Whack still manages P5. So they managed to get the overcut to work for them. And I have a feeling it's because Zab just couldn't take advantage of these top soft tyres and get them lit up. And he also backed up Charizard a little bit here as well. So he couldn't take advantage of the undercut either. He's going to try and get a move done on Zab now. Big loser out of all this definitely was Charizard. I thought he could potentially find his way up into P2. And he's not having an easy time of getting past Zab at all. Zab's defending really well here. Despite that, he is still going quicker than his previous fastest, which is 33.5. So Whack's going to try and get a move done on Andres now. Remember, Whack was behind Charizard before the pit sequence. Oh, he goes really wide. Actually manages to save it and doesn't go too wide into the wall, which kind of looked like he was doing. These drivers are really, really close together. No one else on track seems to be that close. Bomber is catching Capel, you can see on the minimap there, but he isn't as close as these guys are. Yeah, Zab's just losing pace again, like we saw a little bit earlier in the race. Turbo Boy in the pits. So, I fully expect him to come out ahead of Capel, but let's just join back with Capel to see if... Because Capel will have had a little bit of an undercut on these fresher tyres, or he should have. No. Nowhere near. So this should be pretty straightforward cruise to the line for Turbo Boy. Capel did have a bit more pace than him in the last race though. And Bomber, remember he had a huge mistake earlier. He's on a recovery drive, so he's not been able to challenge for the win at all. But he could have P2. Then we've got this battle. Guardrail still in P4. Defending from Whack. Looks like Zab still backing up Charizard, who is losing lots of time behind him. We just can't find a way around. If he hadn't have clattered that sausage curve just like Zab did, he would have had a run down to this hairpin. Oh, no, I thought he was going to try a bit of a dive, but he didn't. But actually, he takes the apex much better than Zab, and he has a run. And he's going to have the inside line here before it becomes the outside again. He breaks too much there. Probably conscious of not wanting to punt Zab off if he got a bit of understeer, but he eventually gets the position. Excuse me. So, great bit of overtaking there from Charizard after a lot of patience. And now he'll have the opportunity to try and catch the fight for P4. And now we've got an overtaking attempt from Bomber here, but he was on the outside into turn 1, which doesn't really work, but Capel continuing to drive incredibly defensively here. And he tries to swoop around the outside and actually gets away with it. That's an insane piece of driving. Let's ride on board with that. So he is on the outside. He brakes a bit earlier than Capel to get a much better exit, and Capel goes defensively, so he has no choice but to try and brake later here, which he does, and allows the momentum of the corner to take him through. He didn't have anything on the accelerator there, whereas Capel was probably braking fully at the same time, which is why he managed to get the move done around the outside and make it look so easy. So great little bit of driver there from Bomber, and he's in P2 now. Guardrail managed to have a bit of a better first sector there to stretch the gap to maybe second and a half ahead of Whack. Charizard already dropping Zab a little bit there as well. Let's go a little bit further back. Pyro is only a little bit ahead of Seacuch. Hapak's down in 10th, and Skills is getting lapped now. Bomber hasn't managed to build any sort of gap. This is where he got his overtake done on the lap previous. His car's really badly dinged up there on the front right, which is where he had his incident. Oh, Capel's got a half-second penalty. That's going to affect him a lot at the end of the lap. Charizard's lost a lot of time to Whack ahead of him, and actually starting to get caught by Pyro and Kutch behind, which is a real turn over the books because they had a huge gap. So Pyro lapping in the 32s and 31s, Zab lapping in the 33s and 34s. That's exactly the reason why. Charizard's only in the 33s as well. Looks like Zab's coming in again. So, trying a two-stopper, which isn't the best idea. He's still got a lot of tyre life on those softs as well. obviously just not getting anything to work for him at the moment, so he's going to lose, well, any chance of a top 8 finish, and he crossed the white line on pit entry, so gets a 3-second penalty as well. So this four-way battle becomes a 3-way battle, and a bit of respite for Charizard. Capel, who got his half-second penalty, still has Bomber within his sights. So we've got Skittles getting lapped at the moment. Capel trying to take advantage of a bit of slipstream before he gets the overtake done. How much wider that Peugeot is compared to the Alpha. Ooh, off track a little bit there for Whack. Really good tyre life on Whack. A little bit better than Guardrail, who's clearly sliding a little bit into some of these corners because his rear right is a lot more worn. Little gaps forming a little bit further back as well. This is probably the main battle going on. The battle for P9 between Hapax and Zab. Hapax obviously on slightly more worn softs. Zab also on the fresh softs after his second stop. Ooh, a little bit wide into the first part of the chicane. Takes the exit really well though. Yeah, Zab hit on lap 12 to get off the mediums to try the undercut, but not only did the undercut not work, he didn't feel confident enough to try and finish the race on those softs as well. Hapax going a bit wide on that really tricky corner I was describing earlier. And brakes a lot more than you have to. You can really take this whole corner at a minimum of 80 miles an hour, and these guys are in the low 70s there. So is Zab going to get a move into turn 1? He's going to have to go into the slipstream. The Gen is better on the acceleration out of that corner. Yeah, Zab had to back out a little bit. Takes the corner nice and cautiously, but has the inside for the chicane here. A little bit of contact, but nothing too bad. And he gets P9. Hapax going to be able to do move into the hairpin. The door's left open for him. Oh, he manages to hit the hairpin as well. Beautiful move there to get the position back straight away. Okay, let's have a quick look and see what's going on. So Turbo Boy's really far away. Capel's managed to reel in Bomber once again, so it could potentially be a Peugeot 1-2 here. Bomber's tyres are completely gone as well compared to Capel's, so he really might struggle because we're on lap 24. We've got another 2 laps after this. So the battle for the podium position is definitely not over yet. Guardrail has skills between him and Whack now. And then Charizard. Well, Pyro's definitely catching up to Charizard now. Pyro's lapping 1.5 seconds quicker than Charizard, so maybe in a lap or two, Pyro might be able to get P6. Not if he goes wide like that though. Let's rejoin Capello. Yep, he's got much more grip around the technical parts of the track. You can see the gap really closing on Bomber there. Yeah, look at all of his lag. Not good to ride on board with. There he goes, and then he's going to appear right behind us again. Yep. Oh, well, he manages to get the position and bump Bomber off there through lag, obviously, not through any kind of malice or anything, because a few seconds before that he was off into the barriers, and now he's in P2. So that's really unlucky for Bomber. I think he'll probably be slightly annoyed that happened, but he's still in P3, still has a chance of good points here. Protect his lead on Turbo Boy in terms of the championship fight. Capello's still in there as well, obviously. Now let's rejoin with Pyro, because I have a feeling he's going to be able to get a move done on Charizard fairly soon. See, he's losing 2 seconds a lap now that he's caught up to Charizard. It's interesting because Charizard was getting held up by Zab, and now Charizard's the one holding up Pyro. So it really goes to show Pyro really did have really good pace here. Could have potentially, well, with the mistakes that Bomber's made and with Turbo Boy making a 2-stop, he could have potentially been in for winning this race if he hadn't have span out and then started getting involved in all sorts of traffic. Completely dead front right tyre as well, so that might impact his ability to get this move done. This is the final lap. Seacoach is already finished. Zab with his 2-stopper comes across in P9. Hapax isn't too far behind actually in P10 after defending pretty well against Zab, and then Skittles is already lapped. So let's join with Turbo Boy, who is in Sector 3 now for these final couple of corners. Beautiful black and green livery with Brembo looking like the main sponsor there. This will be win number, I think, 4 of the season. Really cementing his place as a front runner. Capel's going to come in with his second P2 of the day. So a great result once again for Peugeot. The Gen X, P3 for Bomber after his big mistake. Could have been P2. And then Guardrail Lover, really good result for him in P4. Really solid race, no mistakes. Whack managed 5th. Again, a really solid race with few mistakes. Managed to get an overcut strategy working for him. Charizard in 6th actually holds Pyro back at the end there. So some good defensive driving late on by Charizard to keep P6. And Skittles obviously in 11th. So yeah, that's it. Let's have a quick look at the standings actually. As it stands, I know Bomber's still winning. We have Capel, 178 points. Turbo Boy is 12 points ahead of, 19 points ahead of him, sorry, on 197. And yeah, right, who is Bomber, is on 209, so he's 12 points ahead of Turbo Boy, 31 points ahead of Capel. So it is really looking like he'll be heading into the final race of the season with just such a slender lead. We've got the Nürburgring Endurance next week, which again, it can rain there. It's the longest track on the calendar by far, maybe like triple, quadruple the length of anywhere else. Anything can happen. Some people are freakish good at the Nord compared to everywhere else because they've practiced it so many times because they love it, and some people really don't know it. It'll probably benefit the people who raced here last season in ALR when we just did the normal Nordschleife layout compared to the newer guys, but you never know. So yeah, join us for that. It should be an exciting one. Thanks for watching.